Do you know what's scarier than pets coming back to life? Spelling errors! Pet Semetary was directed by Dennis Widmeyer and Kevin Kulsh? I'll just put his name in the lower third because I'm not gonna get it right. And this movie stars Jason Clarke, Amy Seimetz, John Lithgow, and a young actress who is really good but has a name that I cannot pronounce, so I will put that also right here. And it tells the tale of a family who is moving into their new home in the Maine countryside. But the family's patriarch, played by Jason Clarke, finds out that a part of their new home is a patch of land that the locals call Pet Semetary, where the rumor has it that the dead can come back to life. But let's just say through a series of unfortunate events, the question is raised, do the dead really come back? This movie is based on the book by Stephen King, and this was also a movie released in the late 80s. I have not read the book, and I have not seen the movie. I know what Pet Semetary is, I just have no exposure to it. But the trailers for this movie looked really creepy, so I was on board. And it's pretty safe to say that Pet Semetary had its great moments and its not so great moments. The actors carry this entire movie on their back. You got Jason Clarke, whose career has pretty much been, he's always been the bridesmaid, but he's never been the bride. Meaning that he's always been great in smaller roles, but never great in leading roles. Keep forgetting about Terminator Genisys, But seeing his slow descent into madness was really effective. It reminded me of a not as good as, but still a version of Jack Nicholson from The Shining. Which, ironically enough, was another movie based on a Stephen King novel, but we better not remind him of that. And Amy Seimetz, who plays Clark's wife, she also did a really good job as well. She has to go through a complex range of emotions, as well as a troubled past, or her character's troubled past. And she navigates it all with flying colors. But the best actress out of the entire lot was Jet Lawrence. She starts off as kind of a more normal girl, but I swear by the end of this movie she turns into Reagan from The Exorcist. Needless to say, it ain't pretty, but effective. I also have to give props to the practical effects, because there were some scenes where there was some really, really good makeup. Practical makeup almost never gets used nowadays, and whenever I do see it, I have to give props because it's a pain to apply, but when it is used, it is some of the best stuff in the entire movie. I loved it in Overlord, and I loved it here. But really, this movie's biggest problem is that there are way too many exposition dump scenes. Like, John Lithgow's entire character is just to explain stuff. He explains the history of the Pet Semetary, he explains the history of the Wendigo, he explains his own history. Sheesh, don't get him on a tangent, he'll start talking about, like, the history of World War II or something like that. It was almost as if the directors didn't trust the audience with understanding any of the lore that comes with Pet Semetary, so John Lithgow was airlifted in there to explain everything. When, they don't realize that people are a lot smarter than that, and a lot more times than not are more than willing to accept crazy and kooky ideas. I mean, take a look at Thor Ragnarok. I mean, that movie had a giant wolf attacking a giant green rage monster, and that made $1 billion at the box office. So, directors, take a chance on us here. But unfortunately, too much exposition is pretty much the entire story of the first hour of this movie. The first hour is just a bore, but then when it hits a certain point, and believe me, you'll know it when you see it, it just goes from 0 to 200 miles an hour like that. But in the end, I wanted to like Pet Semetary a lot more than I actually did. It has its great moments, but unfortunately it has its painfully average moments as well, and some very frustrating moments as well. But in the end, I'm going to give it a good rating. I think that there's way too much positive stuff that outshines the negative stuff, but there's still a lot of negative stuff regardless. Though fingers crossed for It Chapter 2. But that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, please be sure to hit subscribe. My name is Ryan Kem, and I'll see you in the next one.